Hi guys, it's Matt from Silderman Solutions. How are you? Good to see you again. So today we are looking at Melinda Livsey's website. She is the owner of Marks and Maker. You may recognize the name because she appears with Chris Do on the Futures YouTube channel, and she gets coaching live on YouTube. I believe that the series that she's part of is called The Process, and it's pretty great. You should check it out. It's also exciting to see over the month, and this is why they do it, obviously, but it's been exciting to watch over the past year to see her grow, to see her revenue increase. And I said to her the other day, I feel like she's becoming a mini Chris Do, like she's starting to reach guru status on her own with the way that she's thinking about her business and just it's exciting to see. It's like if I can speak in chess terms, it's like she's starting to think a couple moves ahead, and it's just exciting to watch her grow and to, I have to give her a lot of credit for putting herself out there on camera and being so open and transparent. I think that I would just sort of wither under Chris's sharp questions, and I'd probably turn into a pool of mush, and so she does a great job there. So anyway, if you haven't seen it, you definitely should check it out. But anyway, back to the task at hand. So a couple of weeks ago, Melinda mentioned on one of her email newsletters, and you should sign up for that if you're not already a part of it. You'll definitely get a lot of value from it. So she mentioned that she had some broken links, and me as an SEO, the gears in my head start turning. I guess that's probably all I got in there, gears, and I start, okay, you know what? I want to run a crawler. And so I run a crawler on her website, and sure enough, she had two broken links. So I went to Melinda and I said, I'd like to fix these for you. And so we kind of worked that out. And long story short, I asked if I could share it with my viewers, and I could do a screencast of it and talk about what I did and my process and that sort of thing. So I hope that as you watch this, you'll learn a little bit about how you could possibly learn to fix broken links, or if SEO is just so far outside of your expertise, at least this will give you a little peek into my process. And so if you're going to hire someone to do search engine optimization for you, sometimes we call that person an SEO as well, a search engine optimizer, right? Or a search engine or a search marketer. If you're going to hire a search marketer, you'll have some idea of what to look for depending on the services that they're doing for you. So we'll talk about how we discover the broken links or the bad redirects, and then I'll show you on a Squarespace website, because her website is on Squarespace. I'll show you on a Squarespace website how to set up the 301 redirects to basically fix the broken links. Okay, so just to reiterate, in case you haven't heard of Melinda before, she does brand strategy, she does design. She's based out of, I believe, Orange County, California. And so this is her website here. Let's talk a little bit about, and I think these changing pictures are going to distract me, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit. But I would encourage you to check her out. I believe that she's very good at what she does, and just based off of what I've seen on camera and the conversations that I've had with you, I highly recommend her. So back to the task at hand. If you think you might have broken links, or if you think you have an inkling that something like that is happening, there are a number of ways that you can check. But we also have to understand why broken links are bad. Okay, broken links are bad not only because it ruins user experience, but it also hurts your search ranking in Google. Okay, so, and those two are closely related, and so let me talk about that for a second. So user experience is very important, because if you have these broken links, it's funny, even though that user may actually be on your website, and it may just take one extra click to get around that broken link, right? It would be like that link is on the other side of the world. We are so used to now instant gratification on the internet. We don't want anything getting in the way. And actually, um, people involved in user experience design often talk about the goal being to design a website so that it has a frictionless user experience, right? And so there's nothing getting in the way of them making a purchase or buying a product or something along those lines. And so that makes sense. I mean, we are all users on other people's websites, and we know that we want everything to go smoothly and we don't want anything in our way. And we find it annoying, for instance, when a web page takes too long to load, right? And we'll go somewhere else, right? So user experience is very important. Like I said, if you want somebody to buy from you or buy your product, you want them to be as happy as possible, having a great time, and sometimes broken links also sends a signal that maybe a lack of professionalism or a lack of attention to detail, and so uh, it's always good to just get rid of them, right? And that also relates to SEO in the sense that Google is interested in the user's experience because Google will always be interested in providing the best results, solving the user's problem, right? Because they're going to search for something on Google, and then hopefully your page comes up if you've done your SEO right. And then it's your job on your website to solve their problems quickly and the best way possible. And then Google will reward you by ranking higher. So if you are writing on your website or you're designing the layout, the technicals, the back end technicals, like I mentioned, page speed, um, if you have done a good job with your user experience, there's only I shouldn't say a couple, but that's a good start. And then there are other things that you have to do to make sure that your website interacts well with Google and Google's search engine. So user experience is a big deal. It's very important. And then you go a couple steps further and you optimize for SEO. And the same thing is true. Google will look at broken links as a lack of attention to detail or lower quality. And so when you're in Google's mind, your quality score drops a little bit. And we can get really technical and say that a broken link that goes nowhere is worse than what they call a soft 404, which is a broken link that goes to a 404 page. But we don't really need to get too deep into that. Either way, it's not an ideal user experience, and it's not the best that you can do for your user or to rank in Google. Okay, so now that we've established that those are bad and talked a little bit about why they're bad, let's talk about how you find them. Okay, so I already mentioned that I started by running a crawler, and that's probably the easiest thing to do because you have the crawler do the work for you and discover the broken links. But there are a number of other things that you can do to discover broken links. So first I ran a crawler and I found those two broken links. And let me show you my crawl report here. Since I fixed them, there's nothing coming up as issues, but these were the issues. And if you want to look at these two pages, basically Marks and Maker, Melinda's website, has gone through a couple different versions. And what that did over time is it left, you can see there are different versions of the contact page. One was about contact, one was just contact. Now the contact page is contact-form. And so these don't go anywhere and they go to the 404 page and they need to be fixed. Okay. Now, oftentimes a crawler will pick up broken internal links. Okay, but it does not always pick up broken links coming into your website. And so there are some ways that we can also look for that. Okay, so one of the first ways and the best ways to prioritize things is, because certainly you're almost always going to be running a crawler. And so maybe if you have like a ton of 404s, then you still need help prioritizing things. And one of the ways that you could do that is to go to your list of top pages. So right now I'm using Moz. And Moz is pretty good. Yeah, there are some things that it could improve on, but I would say I'm most comfortable with Moz. So as I was going through the top pages, I found this. And you'll notice that this is basically like a blog archive page, or I guess it was a blog post, a coming soon blog post. And didn't go anywhere. And or it went to a 404 page. And this is bad because you'll notice it says under this column here, linking domains. So somebody is actually linking to that page that's no longer there. Let me see if I can explain this part clearly. Search engine optimization still has a lot to do with the importance of other people linking to your website or to a certain page. And so it's almost like a quality signal. So if another website thinks you're good enough to link to you, Google takes that as a quality signal. And it usually means that your website or that page that has gotten a link is going to rank higher. The problem with the way that it was set up is essentially the 404 page is getting the ability to rank, and nobody wants that. You don't want your 404 page showing up in search results. It's kind of ridiculous. So it's a good thing that we caught this, and we're able to, you'll see later on, but I redirected it to the blog page so that would help her blogs rank higher. So it's a good thing. So the top pages basically tells you the pages with the best ability to rank, or the highest ranking or the best ability to rank, and it will also show you if they have links coming into them, which is one of the reasons they'll probably be ranking well. And so that's one of the ways to do it. Okay, so we've covered two, right? The first one was send a crawler bot, which is pretty easy. The second one is examine top pages, and this can be harder if you have a bigger website. So it's good that she does not have a ton of pages. Okay, now it looks like oh, here we are, actually. So we're going to go to the Wayback Machine, and I just want to copy her website for a second. Okay, so the Wayback Machine is, and I've had to use this a couple times. The Wayback Machine basically takes pictures of websites I'm not sure how often it is, a couple times a month. And so you'll see there's kind of a timeline here, okay, and you can see that she first started a website in 2016. And what I noticed is that she has had a number of different redesigns over the years. And so not just for her, but there have been a lot of times when I've been brought as an SEO, right, a search engine optimizer or a search marketer, that I've been brought in to fix issues that a web designer has just come and created a new website for somebody, and they did not understand SEO, and so they just created a new website and they didn't set up any redirects, and there were a whole bunch of broken links, right? And so maybe I should just go through this really quickly and see if we can find a good example. I should have done this ahead of time, but let's see how this loads up. Okay, it's taken a couple minutes, but what I would recommend, I mean, this could really take a long time if you decided to go and look at every single blog post and redirect every single blog post, okay? What I'll say is one of the best things to do is to just maybe hit the pages in the main navigation, okay, to make sure that they still, to make sure that they redirect correctly, or make sure that the names haven't changed. Going through this, I found, for instance, that she no longer has a blog, now she has a journal. So when I found this in here, I noted that, okay, I have to go back to the blog page and I have to redirect it to the journal page. And that was an important one because obviously you feature that in your main navigation, and she does blogging and she's a good writer. So, you know, people will be following her, and there's the potential that, you know, some of the links would be broken and not work. And so this is one of the things that you can do to check previous versions of a website to see if anything was missed when the new website was created. Okay, so we went over three things already, right? We went over the crawler, top pages, and then the Wayback Machine. And then technically the last one that you could possibly do is you could look in your analytics and see if the 404 page is coming up a lot. You could look in your analytics and see if pages are coming up that you know don't exist, right? You don't use them anymore. So 4 good ways for you to find broken links. Now, if you have a Squarespace like Melinda, let me show you how to set up the redirects, okay? And so I typed it out because I wanted to, if you get anything wrong, it's not going to work, right? And so the Squarespace setup is you take the old page here, you draw a dash and an arrow, and then you put the new page here. And then after that, you put the type of redirect. So a 301 redirect is a permanent redirect. You basically say to Google, anytime somebody tries to visit this page, or if you were going to crawl this page, now you should crawl this new page, right? So if you're going to crawl about-contact, I want you to crawl contact-form. Or if somebody was going to visit that, send them here instead, right? And so there were a number of issues that I found, right? 2 from the crawler, 1 because I noticed in the Wayback Machine that the blog should now be the journal. And so I type it out in a Google Doc, and then I just copy and paste it to make sure that I don't mess up. And so here, if I can show you, I apologize that, just give me a second here. All right, so if you're in your admin panel, right, you're going to scroll down to, where am I here? Oh, I apologize. So you start here and you go to settings first. Okay, so the first button you click on is settings. All right, now you scroll down some more and you go to, let's see where we are, advanced. Click on advanced and you scroll down a little bit more. By the way, this page up here, 404 page not found, if you wanted to see that the page that visitors would see if they clicked on a broken link, you can click on that and it'll show you what the page looks like. In some cases, they'll even let you redesign it. Okay. Now, we are going down to URL mappings, and this is specifically for Squarespace, does it like this, okay? If you have a WordPress website, you could buy the premium version of Yoast, and it's actually much easier to do than this is. Or you could just get a free plugin. I have one on one of the sites that I'm administrator of, and I can't remember what it's called, but there are free plugins that you can do to set up redirects so that you don't have to go into your hosting and mess around and possibly mess something up. So much more seamless and certainly easier to do than on a Squarespace website. But basically you can see what I did, the redirects that I set up, and you're supposed to do 1 per line. Okay, and then the one on the bottom was the one that I found on the top pages report, and I just redirected that to her blog page. Okay, after you set it all up correctly, you click it would normally say up here, save. Okay, and if you set it up wrong, you'll get an error message down on the bottom. The other thing that I would recommend after you do it, well, technically you can still set it up wrong. So what I always like to do is check. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to her website, and I'm just going to plug it in to make sure. Okay, so I plugged in the old page, the one that was returning an error, and I'm going to enter it now, and let's see if it redirects. It always takes a little extra second, but it redirects to her new contact form. Okay, and so I've already checked all of those to make sure. It's important to be thorough, right? I'd be really embarrassed if I hadn't done a good job, or it'd be even worse if I was messed it up on the screencast, right? But anyway, so that's the process for finding, we talked about why it's important to get rid of your broken links, how you can find the broken links, and how specifically, if you have at least we covered in this screencast, if you have a Squarespace website, how you can fix the broken links, okay? So I hope you guys learned a lot. And I mentioned it earlier in passing, I would just say be very careful with setting up redirects, okay? Because you could really, if you don't know what you're doing, you really could mess up the user experience. You could ruin the way that Google is indexing your website, and you could really then not show up in search results, and it could really be a big mess. So if you understand SEO, then you probably know a lot of this stuff already. But if not, I would encourage you to ask an expert, ask me, do a little bit more reading, but don't just jump in and this is not one of those things you experiment with, because it could really have some serious repercussions. Okay, so obviously I was glad to fix this stuff for Melinda, and just excited to share it with you guys. All right, so please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, and if you need anything, just reach out to me. And all right, guys, it's been fun. I hope you have a great night. Take care.